Could the Boston Red Sox actually consider trading Rafael Devers? What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented to you by Betway. I'm Adam Peddle, joined alongside by Nicholas Pelog. There was a huge controversy this week going on between Rafael Devers and the Boston Red Sox. What's new? Am I right? It's more about the position that he plays. First, they tell Devers, hey, you're off at third base, you're going to be a DH. Okay, there was some controversy, he fought it, and then he accepted it, and he ended up being pretty good still offensively. Now they're saying, hey, Tristan Casas is injured. You're going to go have to play some first base, and he denied it. And there were some spoken words that Rafael Devers said to the media, and then it caused a whole chain of events. So we're going to break it down, talk about what he said, talk about what happened afterwards, and as well give our 2 cents on whether or not the Red Sox should actually trade this guy, whether it makes sense for them, and then are the Boston Red Sox going to be okay after that?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, this is never what you want to see, as a fan of a team like this. Like when your star player, a guy that gets paid over $300 million, is coming out and speaking to the media and effectively calling out the management, saying it's like, hey, these guys got to do a better job at getting a first baseman because that's not my position.
Yeah.
That is not a good look, and that's exactly what transpired, right? The media was asking Rafael Devers, well, listen, like, could you do that? And he said, look, I should not be expected to have to play all of these different positions on the baseball field, I was told one thing, now they're asking me something else. They should go out, they should do their job and pick somebody else up. And of course, whenever somebody's coming out and saying something like that, clearly it shows that there is a disconnect here in the relationship.
Yeah, there's definitely lack of communication right now. I mean, I like this quote, what Devers says right here, saying, in spring training, they talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove. I wasn't going to play any other position than DH. I mean, when you hear from that, it's like, oh, okay, like, clearly I wasn't informed that I was going to be playing DH. I thought I was going to be third base like I have always been, on this team. They said, go away, you're playing DH. And then, of course, when they asked him, all right, well, are you going to play some first base? Devers says, I don't think so. They've told me I'm a little hard-headed. They've always asked me to change once. This time, I don't think I can be as flexible. So they asked me to change. We fought about it. No, I don't want to do it. Now you're asking me to change again, and it's in early May. He doesn't want to do it. Where do you kind of feel about that, Devers? Because a lot of people have been coming out and saying, well, you're getting paid $300 million, kid. Go play wherever you're playing.
And I do think that there is an element to that, right? Like, I think that I hear where Rafael Devers is coming from in the sense of, okay, look, they told me one thing. Now they're saying something else completely. It's throwing me off, and clearly he's not a super flexible guy. So obviously he is taking offense to this. However, he does get paid over $300 million, and he is the guy over there. And I would imagine that in his contract that he signed, nowhere in it would it have said, we pay you $300 million to play third base. It's, we pay you $300 million to play for the Boston Red Sox. And there are a bunch of other positions on the Boston Red Sox that need to be filled, first base being one of them. So, honestly, I hear where Rafael Devers is, his discomfort, maybe his animosity is coming from, but I do still think that when your team is telling you to do something and they're paying you that much money, you do have to do it, and honestly, it's probably a really bad look. Well, actually, it is a really bad look.
Because we're talking about it right now. We're all talking about it.
Coming out and just speaking the media like this.
I don't like the way that he was going about speaking to the media, because, there was a quote out there. I don't know if it's true, but, a team basically telling Devers, dude, you got to just stop talking. It's causing a lot more tension than it needs to be. But I think I weigh more on the fact that there hasn't been that great communication. Because, look, if you're the front office and if you would have came to Devers and said, hey, we're considering moving you. We got Bregman now. He's going to play third base. We want him to play third base. How would you feel about going and playing first or DH or whatever? And if he comes to you and says, well, quite frankly, I don't feel comfortable doing that. He's like, okay, well, what would you be comfortable doing? How can we make this work? Because we really want Bregman to play third base or be in the field. You got to talk to him because, again, in the day, you are paying him $300 million. He is your guy, right? He is your guy, and you want to make sure that your guy feels comfortable with your team and not have all this controversy. So the way it was handled was poorly.
Well, I do think, the managerial decisions, again, assuming that they didn't communicate with him well enough, obviously that's a problem. However, I think that, if your team's coming to you and you're saying it's like, look, how are you feeling about this? Ultimately, you can tell them, I don't feel that comfortable playing first base. But if they put their foot down and say, you got to play first base,
right?
That's just what you got to do.
And the team better be okay with the potential outcome of either him, his bat, leaving him completely, or playing poor defense.
Correct.
And
that's their choice.
And that's their choice. But then as Devers, you got to give your 110% effort. But yeah, you got to be okay with that. And if Devers feels like by putting me at first base, you're going to be sacrificing those things, because maybe that could be part of his reasoning. Like, I don't feel comfortable, and if I go play uncomfortable baseball, I'm not going to perform as well as I did, which we saw that earlier when he first began the season. He was very uncomfortable. He had that huge over stretch. So, like, if you're okay with that, then do it, I guess, right? But there needs to be better communication overall. That's the consistency. That's the common denominator here.
Sure, yeah, 100%, man. And, going out and speaking to the media like this just isn't a good look for Rafi. It is, of course, sparked the conversation of maybe a trade could be coming out, because the relationship between the management and Rafael Devers just isn't there, and it is fractured. Lots of people are talking about it. It seems ridiculous to imagine that somebody that is getting paid so much money and somebody that should be the cornerstone of the Boston Red Sox would get traded. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the idea of a trade doesn't make sense. And, even though you have Bob Nightingale from USA Today, saying the next step could be Devers formally requesting a trade if they start pushing his button saying, I want to get out of here. I mean, listen, if Devers says, I want to get a trade, then you fucked up as the management. if you somehow was like, I want to get out of here, I want to leave, blah, blah, blah. But from a Boston Red Sox perspective, you shouldn't be trading Devers, because he's literally an all-star every single year. He could, he's always up there in MVP votes. You're not trading this guy no matter what. But again, you got to be careful, because if Bob Nightingale's saying, if Devers wants to request a trade, then that might be on the table too.
Yeah, and I think that if you're the management, you're kind of walking a tightrope here.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I would imagine where the management's coming from is, hey, we pay this guy so much goddamn money. We need a first baseman right now. Like, and he's saying no? Like, what the fuck? But you're also trying to manage the fact that he is a little bit of a diva. And we can all agree that there is a little bit of that being part of it. But that's up to you as the front office to kind of manage your divas. And, he's not the only diva in sports, guys. I mean, these guys have fucking egos that are through the roof. And, that honestly helps them sometimes when they're on the field. So, yeah, it's a tough spot for them to navigate right now. I mean, I do think that if it ends up him getting traded and everything like that, like, that would just be completely and utterly ridiculous. I would love it as a Toronto Blue Jays fan to see Rafael Devers leave the division and go somewhere else. But if you're the Boston Red Sox, like, you just got to find a way. And I do think that if you're Rafael Devers, you as well, it's not a good look for your brand to be coming out and saying, yeah, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just playing DH. I'm not being flexible here. Like, there's got to be a little bit of a back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, well, hopefully they all figure it out and Devers can, play a certain position. And it feels like they're starting to lock that down right now. They actually had the owner of the Boston Red Sox fly out and meet up with Devers after those comments got leaked to actually have a conversation. Finally, after all this time, they're finally having a conversation. Right here, this is coming from The Athletic's Jen McCaffrey, saying they had an honest and candid exchange that took place about the situation, and then they wouldn't speak about it. Nothing came out, but all we heard from Alex Cora is that right after that, when they asked him, hey, is Devers going to play some first base? He goes, nope. That was it.
DH, yeah.
He is going to still be a DH, and he said, we got other options. So obviously, in that exchange, they were very honest. Devers probably said exactly what we all thought he would say, saying, I don't feel comfortable playing first base mid-season. That's one thing. It's mid-season, too, so I kind of also see where he's at. Like, you're asking me to learn a whole new position right in the middle of the freaking season.
No, and
that's tough.
Let's be very clear. Like, I don't agree with the choice from the management to have him do that.
That's bad.
But ultimately... That's not up to Devers to decide, right?
Yeah.
And now I think that if you are Rafael Devers, you go to them, you voice your concerns, but you do that behind closed doors.
And that's what it should have happened a long time ago.
Exactly. Like that conversation where the man, whoever the owner flies out, that should have happened, a month ago.
That should have happened in spring training.
Probably, right?
About third base.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then they have that conversation. I guess now it's finally happening. And of course, there is still going to be drama with this moving forward. Like, I imagine this isn't the last that we've heard about this. but I guess maybe they can try to put it to bed for a couple weeks anyways.
Yeah, hopefully, guys. Let's give a quick shout out here, everybody, to Betway, the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. The line right now for the Boston Red Sox, they're 22-20 at their record right now, so they're still doing good. And if you're hoping and thinking that Red Sox are going to get even better and this Rafi distraction doesn't blow out of proportion and the team starts sucking because of this whole drama, which I don't think it will, you could bet the over-under on their win totals right now. 85.5 over. It gets you 2 times your money for the Boston Red Sox. That feels pretty good.
I think I like that a lot, actually, because they're 2 games above 500 right now.
And expected to be higher.
Exactly. That's only saying that they're going to be 3 games above 500 for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Like, I think I like that a lot, actually.
I like that a lot, guys. And maybe they're considering the Rafi drama. But if you don't think that's going to be a big issue, which we already saw the drama, it wasn't a big issue, so I think it's going to be just fine. If you want to go bet on that, download the app, scan the QR code right here, or click the link in the description.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let us know your thoughts and comments about this down below. Hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and of course, we will catch you next time.
Cheers.